The first time Tara told me I had to pay $3,200 a month to care for my own grandchildren, she did it in front of 6 people and a bowl of unfinished salad. She placed the printed notice beside my plate and said, "You cannot keep taking advantage of this family." I looked at the number, $3,200 every month, for the care I had already been giving her children for almost 5 years. Noah was 9, Mia was 6. I had picked them up from school, fed them dinner, helped with homework, stayed overnight when Tara travelled for work, and answered every emergency call that began with the words, "Eleanor, I am sorry, but can you possibly—" Apparently, all of that had been taking advantage of the family. Tara sat across from me with her hands folded on the table. Her husband, my son Marcus, stared at the salad bowl. Her mother, Linda, watched me with a look of concern that seemed rehearsed. Tara's sister had her phone turned face down beside her glass. Even the children were quiet. They had been drawing at the other end of the table, but they had stopped when Tara began speaking. I asked her what she meant by taking advantage. She said I had made childcare into an emotional favor instead of accepting its real value. She said professional childcare in our area cost at least $3,200 a month. She said that if I expected to keep taking care of Noah and Mia, I needed to start paying the family for the privilege. I looked at Marcus. He finally raised his head. "Mum, Tara is trying to create a more formal arrangement," he said. "A formal arrangement for care I provide?" He rubbed his forehead. "She wants clear boundaries." I looked back at Tara. "Then I agree." Her expression changed. "You agree?" "Yes. I am glad you understand that this cannot continue for free. I agree that childcare should have clear terms." She pushed the notice closer to me. "Then you will begin paying $3,200 on the 1st of next month." I picked up the paper. At the bottom, beneath the monthly fee, was a sentence saying that all future childcare arrangements would be subject to Tara's scheduling approval. I read it twice. Then I asked her to sign one simple form first. That was the moment the room became quiet for a different reason. My name is Eleanor Price, and I was 64 when my daughter-in-law decided to put a price on the care I had given my grandchildren for free. I had worked as an aide in an elementary school for 30 years. I knew how to tie a child's shoe while answering a parent's question. I knew the difference between a child who was tired and a child who was frightened. I knew that children often behaved worst when they were trying hardest not to cry. After I retired, I expected to spend my mornings walking, reading, and learning how to use the sewing machine my husband had given me years earlier. Instead, I became the person Tara called whenever her schedule became inconvenient. At first, I did not mind. Noah was 4 when I began watching him after preschool. Tara had started a new position and said the daycare center had a 6-month waiting list. Marcus worked long shifts at a distribution warehouse and could not always leave on time. Tara asked whether I could pick Noah up 3 afternoons a week. I said yes. She told me it would only be temporary. Temporary became every weekday. When Mia was born, the arrangement expanded. I watched her during Tara's maternity leave because Tara said she needed rest. I watched both children when Tara returned to work because she said the cost of full-time care was impossible. I told her we would figure it out. I was not thinking about money. I was thinking about family. My husband, Richard, had died 2 years before Mia was born. He had loved being a grandfather. He kept a small box of toy cars in the garage for Noah and had started building a wooden dollhouse for Mia before his heart gave out. After he died, the children gave me a reason to keep moving through the house. Noah wanted cereal at exactly the same time every morning. Mia refused to wear socks unless they had animals on them. Their ordinary needs filled the quiet Richard had left behind. Tara knew that. She also knew I was available. The first time she asked me to keep the children overnight, she arrived at my door with 2 backpacks and red eyes. Her boss had moved an important presentation to the morning, and Marcus was out of town. "I would not ask if it were not serious," she said. I told her to go. She left without telling me when she would return. She came back the next evening with flowers and a bag of groceries. She said I was a lifesaver. I believed her. The second overnight happened 2 weeks later. Then came the weekend when Tara's mother was supposed to watch the children, but cancelled because she had a spa appointment. Tara called me from the driveway and said she had no other option. I took the children inside. I made pancakes, washed their pajamas, and slept on the couch because Mia had taken over my bed. In the morning, Tara thanked me in front of Linda and said, "Eleanor is practically our childcare system." Everyone laughed. I laughed too. I did not realize that people can turn a compliment into an expectation without announcing the change. The schedule became more complicated after Tara received a promotion. She began traveling 2 or 3 times a month. Marcus started taking overtime shifts because they were saving for a larger house. I picked up the children from school, drove them to soccer, prepared dinner, checked homework, and returned them after Tara came home. Sometimes she arrived after the children were asleep. Sometimes she sent a message saying her flight had been delayed. Sometimes she forgot to bring pajamas and asked me to buy them. I kept spare clothes in a drawer. I kept their favorite cereal in the pantry. I kept a list of emergency numbers on the refrigerator. I kept my phone beside me at night in case Tara needed me. I believed love made the accounting unnecessary. For a while, the family treated my help as something precious. Tara sent photographs of the children eating the meals I prepared. Marcus brought me coffee on Sunday mornings. Noah drew pictures of our house and wrote "Grandma's Daycare" across the top. Mia once fell asleep holding the sleeve of my sweater. Those moments mattered to me. They still do. But then Tara began telling other people a different story. I first noticed it at a neighborhood barbecue. A woman I barely knew asked whether I was enjoying retirement. Before I could answer, Tara laughed and said, "Retirement is generous. Mum spends most days waiting for the kids to need her." The woman smiled politely. I pretended not to hear the insult inside the joke. A month later, Tara told her sister that I had become overly dependent on the children. She said I used childcare as an excuse to stay involved in their lives. I heard that from Marcus, who apologized for repeating it. He said Tara was under pressure. I asked whether he believed what she had said. He told me she did not mean it seriously. That became his answer to everything. She did not mean it seriously. She was tired. She was stressed. She was trying to protect the family. Each explanation made the words disappear from the room without making them less true. The $3,200 demand came after Tara's sister began using a private childcare service. The service sent weekly updates, charged a monthly fee, and provided a written schedule. Tara said the arrangement made her feel organized. She said her sister was no longer relying on family members who might later expect gratitude. I thought she was talking about her sister. Then Tara invited me to dinner. She said she wanted to discuss the children's schedule. Linda came with her. Marcus was already sitting at the table when I arrived. I knew then that the conversation had been planned before I was invited. Tara told me I was no longer allowed to pick up the children without written approval. She said I had been making decisions about meals, homework, and bedtime without consulting her. I reminded her that she had been out of the country when I made some of those decisions. She said that was exactly the problem. I asked what she wanted me to do when she was unavailable. She said I should stop assuming I was the default caregiver. Then she placed the $3,200 notice beside my plate. She said professional care had a value, and I needed to stop acting as if being a grandmother made me entitled to free access to the children. I asked whether she was still asking me to provide care. She said yes, but under her terms. I agreed to the formal arrangement. Then I asked her to sign the form. The form was 1 page long. At the top, it said, Family Childcare Service Agreement. It listed my name as the provider and Tara and Marcus as the clients. It included the requested schedule, emergency coverage, overnight care, transportation, meals, and school support. It also included the phrase, family discount applied. The monthly amount was $1,600, not $3,200. That was the reduced rate I had calculated after reviewing local childcare prices. I was not charging the full amount. I was offering the family discount she had forgotten to mention. Beneath the monthly rate was a second page. It contained a service log covering the previous 12 months. I had created it after Tara accused me of depending on the children. I had not planned to use it. I had only wanted to understand where my time was going. The log showed weekday pickups, weekend care, overnight stays, emergency coverage, school transportation, meal preparation, and holiday care. It did not include every favor. It did not include the mornings I arrived early because Tara had a meeting. It did not include the evenings I stayed late because Marcus was stuck in traffic. It did not include the clothes, school supplies, snacks, medicines, or activity fees I paid from my own pocket. The total for the documented hours was $38,400 at the local rate. With the family discount, the amount was $19,200. I did not ask for retroactive payment. I wrote one sentence at the bottom. Beginning next month, care will continue only under a written schedule and the agreed family rate. Tara looked at the first page, then she turned to the second. Her face became pale. You made this? She asked. Yes. You have been keeping track? I started recently. Why? Because you told me I was taking advantage of the family? Linda reached for the form. Tara pulled it away. Marcus finally picked up the service log. He read the first page in silence. Then he read the second. I watched him reach the total. He looked at me as if he had never considered that my days contained hours. I asked Tara to sign the agreement if she wanted me to continue. She said this was insulting. I said the amount was less than what she had demanded from me. She said I was turning her children into a transaction. I reminded her that she had introduced the transaction. She said I was making her look like a bad mother. I said I had not written anything about her parenting. I had only written down the care she had asked me to provide. Tara pushed the papers away. You cannot invoice your own grandchildren. I am not invoicing the children. I am their mother. Then you are the person who would sign the agreement. Marcus said we should pause. Tara turned toward him. Are you going to let her do this? He did not answer. She accused him of choosing his mother over his family. Marcus looked at the service log again. I could see the answer forming in his face before he spoke. She has been doing all of this, he said. Tara said she had always thanked me. I asked whether gratitude was supposed to replace sleep, transportation, food, and time. She said family should help family. I said family should also tell the truth about who is helping. The meeting ended without a signature. Tara took the papers with her. I did not stop her. The next morning, she sent a message to the family group chat. She wrote that I had demanded nearly $20,000 for helping raise my own grandchildren. She said I had finally revealed that my love came with an invoice. She did not mention that she had demanded $3,200 a month from me first. She did not mention the 5 years of unpaid care. She did not mention that the children had been left with me during her work trips, her weekends away, and her emergencies. She presented herself as the exhausted mother who had been attacked by a bitter grandmother. That was the false hero story. It worked at first. Linda called relatives and said Tara was heartbroken. Tara's sister posted a message about older parents who use money to control their adult children. A neighbor asked Marcus whether I was going through a difficult phase. Marcus did not defend me publicly. He said he wanted to keep the peace. I wanted to tell him that peace built on a lie is just a quiet form of surrender. Instead, I sent one message to the group. I did not ask for retroactive payment. I offered a written childcare agreement at half the rate Tara requested. Then I left the chat. That afternoon, Tara arrived at my house with a car seat and a suitcase. She said I needed to keep the children for the weekend because she and Marcus had plans. I told her I was not available without a signed schedule. She said I was punishing Noah and Mia. I said I was protecting the arrangement from becoming another accusation. She said I had never needed a contract before. I told her she was the one who had decided family help required a price. She placed the suitcase on my porch. Then she said she would tell the children that Grandma no longer wanted to see them. That was the cruelest thing she had said. I stepped outside. Noah was sitting in the back seat. Mia was holding a stuffed rabbit against the window. I knelt beside the car. I told them I loved them. I told them the adults were sorting out a schedule. I told them none of it was their fault. Mia asked whether she could still come to my house. I said yes, when the adults had agreed on a safe and respectful plan. Tara pulled the car away. I stood on the porch until the street became quiet. That night, Marcus called. He said Tara had told him I was trying to force her to pay for years of grandmother duties. I told him that was not true. I had not asked for back payment. I had only refused to continue under a system where my help was invisible until someone wanted to accuse me of using it. Marcus said he had not realized the hours were so many. I told him that was the problem. Nobody realized because I made it look easy. He asked whether I would take the invoice off the table. I said the invoice was not a threat. It was a record. He said Tara would never sign it. I said then Tara would need to find another childcare arrangement. He went silent. I asked whether he was angry with me. He said he was angry with himself. That was the first honest answer I had heard from him in a long time. The following week, Tara hired a temporary caregiver. The caregiver arrived late twice. She cancelled on a Friday. She told Tara she could not cover an overnight shift without additional pay. Tara called me at 7 in the evening. She said Mia had a fever and Noah had a school project due the next morning. I asked whether she wanted to discuss the written agreement. She said this was not the time. I told her that emergencies were exactly when clear arrangements mattered most. She called me selfish. I told her I was not available that night. She hung up. I spent that evening at a community art class. I had registered for it months earlier, but cancelled every time a family need came up. The instructor taught us how to repair a torn piece of fabric with visible stitching. She said the repair did not have to disappear to be beautiful. I thought about the years I had spent hiding every sacrifice so that the family could pretend nothing had been required. When I got home, Marcus had left a voicemail. He said he wanted to talk in person. He came the next morning. He looked exhausted. He told me Tara had been telling people that I was an unemployed grandmother who had created a fake business to control the children. I asked whether he believed that. He said no. I asked why he had not corrected it. He said he did not know how. I told him to start with the truth. He asked what the truth was. I pointed to the service log. The truth is that your children were cared for by me for years, and everyone found it convenient to call that love until someone wanted to call it manipulation. Marcus sat down. He read the log again. This time he did not stop at the total. He read the dates. He saw the school pickups on days he had worked late. He saw the overnight care during Tara's travel. He saw the holiday entries and the emergency notes. He saw that I had not exaggerated. I had undercounted. He asked why I had never told him. I said because I did not want to become another problem in his life. He said I had become invisible instead. Yes, I said. He apologized. Then he asked me to help him find a way forward. I told him the children needed stability more than anyone needed to win an argument. I offered 3 choices. They could hire professional care and stop relying on me. They could sign the family agreement and pay the discounted monthly rate for a limited schedule. Or they could create a shared schedule in which Marcus and Tara covered most of the care themselves and asked me only for occasional help. I told him I preferred the third option. I wanted to be their grandmother again. I did not want to be a permanent unpaid employee. Marcus said he understood. Tara did not. She called me that afternoon and said Marcus had chosen me over her. I told her he had chosen a schedule over an accusation. She said I was proud of the invoice. I said I was proud that I had finally written down the truth. She said the invoice proved I had been keeping score. I told her she had asked me to stop treating childcare as a favor. She said she had meant that I should stop expecting gratitude. I said then she should have said that instead of demanding $3,200 a month. There was a long pause. Then Tara said she could not pay me $1,600. I told her I was not asking her to. I was asking her to sign a schedule if she wanted my help. She said she would rather pay a stranger. I told her that was her choice. The new caregiver lasted 3 weeks. After that, Tara asked whether I would watch the children on Tuesdays and Thursdays under the written agreement. I agreed. The schedule was 5 hours a week. It included school pickup, dinner, and homework. There would be no overnight care without a separate agreement. Emergency coverage would depend on my availability. The family rate was $1,600 a month if they used the full schedule. If they cancelled a day, the time would remain reserved unless they gave 48 hours notice. Tara objected to every line. Marcus asked her to sign anyway. She finally did. The first Tuesday, Noah ran toward me when I arrived at the school. Mia held my hand all the way to the car. They did not know about the invoice. They only knew I was there. I made dinner at my house. We worked on Noah's project and read Mia's favorite story twice. At 7, Tara arrived. She stood in the doorway and watched the children laugh at the table. For a moment, she looked like the exhausted mother she had described to everyone. I understood then that her false hero story had not been created from nothing. She was tired. She was under pressure. She did carry responsibilities that mattered. But being tired did not make her the only person carrying the family. Her exhaustion had become a shield that prevented anyone from seeing mine. I offered her a cup of tea. She accepted it. She did not apologize. She did not need to do everything in one evening. Marcus arrived later and thanked me. I told him to thank me by keeping the schedule. He said he would. Over the next few months, the arrangement became more honest. Tara started asking before adding a day. Marcus began handling school transportation on Fridays. Linda stopped telling relatives that I had demanded $20,000. She told them I had created a childcare business. That was not exactly true, but it was closer than the first story. Tara eventually asked whether I wanted to continue after the school year ended. I said I would decide based on my own plans. She looked surprised. I told her I had started volunteering at the elementary school 3 mornings a week. I had joined the sewing class. I was planning to visit my sister for 2 weeks in the summer. My life no longer had to remain open in case someone remembered I was useful. Tara said the children would miss me. I said I would miss them too. That did not mean I had to be available every hour. She nodded slowly. The apology came on a rainy afternoon in October. Tara arrived early to pick up the children. Marcus was still at work. She stood in the kitchen while Noah finished his math, and Mia drew a picture of our house. Tara looked at the refrigerator. The emergency numbers were still there. The spare clothes were still in the drawer. The children's cereal was still in the pantry. She asked whether I had kept everything all those years. I said yes. She said she had believed I was enjoying the arrangement because it gave me purpose. I told her I had enjoyed the children. That was different. She asked whether I hated her. I said no. I had been hurt by her words, but I did not hate her. She said she had made herself look like the only responsible parent because she was afraid people would see how much she depended on me. I told her the truth would not have made her a bad mother. It would have made her a mother who accepted help. She said accepting help had always felt like losing control. I told her control was not the same as responsibility. She looked at the service log on the counter. She asked whether the total was accurate. I said it was conservative. She laughed once, but there was no humor in it. Then I really was asking you to do all that for free, she said. Yes. She apologized. It was quiet and imperfect. She did not ask me to erase the invoice. She did not say she had only been joking. She said she had been wrong. That was enough for me to hear. I did not forgive her because she had finally accepted a number. I forgave her because she stopped pretending the number was the whole story. The children came into the kitchen. Mia held up her drawing. It showed 3 houses connected by a line of bright yellow road. One house was ours. She said the road meant nobody had to live in the same house to remain connected. Tara looked at the picture and cried. I hugged Mia. I did not hug Tara immediately. Then I reached for her hand. That was the beginning, not the ending. Marcus and Tara paid the agreed family rate for the rest of the school year. They never paid the retroactive amount. I never demanded it. The service log remained in a drawer because I wanted to remember what it had taught me. It taught me that invisible work is still work. It taught me that love can be freely given and still require boundaries. It taught me that a person can help a family without becoming the family's unpaid infrastructure. Most of all, it taught me that the person presenting herself as the only exhausted hero may be standing on someone else's years of unrecognized labor. When she placed the $3,200 demand beside my plate, she thought she was forcing me to understand the value of childcare. She was right. I understood its value better than she expected. I also understood the value of my own time. I did not become less loving when I stopped being automatically available. I became more honest. Noah is 13 now. Mia is 10. They still spend time at my house, but they also spend time with their parents. Marcus keeps a shared calendar. Tara sends requests instead of assumptions. Sometimes I say yes. Sometimes I say no. Nobody calls it abandonment anymore. Nobody calls it taking advantage. They call it a schedule. That simple word changed the family more than any argument could have. I still have the original form Tara gave me. It is folded inside the service log. The paper demanded $3,200 a month from me for the care I had already given their children. The form I asked her to sign offered care at half that rate and included a family discount. I never expected her to pay the whole amount. I wanted her to see what she had been asking for. Sometimes a person cannot understand a sacrifice until it is written in numbers. That does not make the sacrifice less loving. It only makes the blindness harder to maintain. The mistake was not giving them. The mistake was giving them without telling the family that gifts still come from a person. Tara once said, I had to pay $3,200 a month for the care I gave my grandchildren. I agreed to her terms only after asking her to read mine. 3 days later, she read the total and stopped calling me a babysitter. She did not become perfect. I did not become endlessly forgiving. We became more accurate. And sometimes accuracy is the most loving thing a family can learn.